Hey everyone and welcome back to GG Haven. Today we're talking about one of the most exciting decks coming to Riftbound, Kaisa, Daughter of the Void. Not only does she bring insane synergy with spells and unit support, but she has already proven herself as a powerhouse by winning the first ever Riftbound Regional in Guangzhou, China. So today, I'm breaking down why this deck is so strong, how it plays, and some key tips if you want to pilot it yourself. Let's start with her legend card. Kaisa's ability is you tap it to add a rune. This is huge. It means you're fueling your spell engine without dipping too deep into your resources, and since abilities that add resources can be reacted to, it's really reliable. Kaisa just smooths out your curve and makes sure your hand is always live, perfect for a spell heavy strategy. Her champion unit takes it even further. She's got Accelerate, where you pay 1 Fury and she comes in ready, so she fits aggressively in lines of play, and whenever she conquers, you draw a card. That's constant value for doing what you already want to do, conquer battlefields and draw cards. Between spell fueling and card draw, Kaisa rewards you for playing fast and keeping the pressure high. Her signature spell, Ecathian Rain, is brutal. Do this 6 times, deal 2 damage to a unit. You can spread it across the board or stack it up to delete a big threat. It's resource intensive, but with Kaisa's generating extra rune, you'll often find yourself able to cast it earlier than expected. And with a battlefield like Void Gate giving bonus damage, it becomes a terrifying board clear that wipes out armies. Speaking of battlefields, battlefield synergies make this deck pop. Let's start off with Tarragon's Peak. When you conquer here, you ready 2 runes. That means you can play spells on your opponent's turn, super flexible. Void Gate, perfect for Kaisa. Every spell deals +1 damage to units here. Combine this with Ecathian Rain or your other damage dealing spells and you're melting boards. Lastly, we have Reaver's Row. It gives you safety. Defend here and you can move a unit back to base. That way you can protect your heavy hitters or Kaisa herself when needed. Together these battlefield lets you pivot between offense, defense, and spell dominance. With our champion units, we've already talked about Kaisa, but backing up Kaisa, you've got Darius. Every time you play your second card in a turn, he gets +2 might and he readies up. That's massive pressure at 7 might. He's a wrecking ball and forces your opponent to respect your sequencing. Think of Darius as your heavy hitter to close games once Kaisa has softened things up. Let's talk about our units. The red package is small but efficient. Pouty Poro with Deflect taxes your opponent's runes and makes it removing a little bit awkward. Great for slowing them down. Noxus Hopeful with Legion drops cheap as long as you've played another card. Easy to pair with a low cost spell, making it a solid early curve play. However, the blue side is where Kaisa really shines. Watchful Sentry gives you card draw when it dies with its Death Knell ability. Ravenbloom Student grows stronger every time you play a spell, threatening to snowball very quickly. Lecturing Yordle is a tank that soaks damage and replaces itself when played. Simple draw a card when played. Sprite Mother lets you play her plus a temporary 3 might sprite, a 2 for 1 that helps flood the board. And finally, Thousand Tailed Watcher is your bomb. Accelerate him in and he gives enemy units -3 might to a minimum of 1. That lets you set up devastating battlefield swings. Kaisa's deck burns through cards, so card draw is essential. Almost every blue unit either draws or synergizes with spells, keeping your hand full and your engine going. Now let's dive into the real bread and butter, the spells. This deck runs 8 different types and each one plays a key role in controlling the pace of the game. Let's start it off with the blue cards. Stupefy, a reaction that gives a unit -1 might to a minimum of 1 and you draw a card. Small effect, but card draw keeps your hand alive and sometimes that -1 is just enough to win a fight. Next we have Retreat, another reaction spell. Return a friendly unit to your hand and channel a rune Exhausted. This is perfect for saving your key units from removal while still ramping you up into more spells. Smokescreen gives -4 might in a reaction, reducing big threats to almost nothing. Great for turning a powerhouse into a pushover. We have Singularity, heavy removal, 6 damage to each up to 2 units, and you can even split it up or pile it onto one. This clears big bodies, keeping the board even, and lets your smaller units shine. Moving on to our red unit. Cleave gives your unit Assault 3. This is how you turn a smaller body into a threat that can suddenly conquer a battlefield. Your Pouty Poro is already jumping on those battlefields and conquering them. Pair this up with your Noxus Hopeful or even your Ravenblue Student and you're swinging with real pressure. Hextech Ray, 3 damage to a unit at a battlefield. Straightforward but efficient. Falling Star, you do this twice, deal 3 to a unit. You can hit 2 different targets or stack both at once. It's flexible and often removes mid-sized threats. Finally, we have Void Seeker, 4 damage to a unit at a battlefield and you draw a card. Damage plus card advantage makes this one of the best spells in this list. And then back to the Queen spell herself, Icathian Rain. 6 pings of 2 damage across the board. You can clear small units, wipe tokens, or burn down single massive enemies. With Void Gate on the battlefield, each ping hits even harder. It's expensive, but in this deck, it's a game ender. Here's a competitive tip for you. Your spells aren't just removal, they're tempo plays. Sometimes it's not about killing a unit, but weakening them just enough for your units to conquer. Cards like Smokescreen or Stupefy set up easy battlefield wins, while Retreat keeps your engine safe. Moving on to our sideboard. The sideboard gives you even more tools. Immortal Phoenix. Thanks to your spell heavy style, you can pull this back from the trash and surprise your opponent with a new threat. Iron Ballista, a gear that stays on your board, gives you repeatable chip damage, pressuring your opponent every turn. And finally, we have Dr. Mundo, a champion unit. Thrives in those grindy matchups. His might scales with your trash pile and he recycles cards each turn. If your opponent is doing a battle of attrition, he provides you that support. So there you have it, Kai'Sa, Daughter of the Void, a spell-heavy card draw fuel deck that dominates battlefields with efficient removal and aggressive conquering. You've got early pressure, constant board control, and late game closers. Honestly, it's no wonder this deck took down the first regional. I'll definitely be sleeving this one up at launch, and I'm hyped to see how many of you bring Kai'Sa to your local events. Let me know in the comments if you're trying this list, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Riftbound content. See you next time.